Welcome to the Q-MindBody Podcast. My name is Darren Main, and in this podcast, we talk about all things having to do with gay men's health, spirituality, wellness, and self-improvement. And I have amazing guests on from around the world who are really helping gay men move forward and do a lot of self-exploration. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the one thing gay men should never do. That's a teaser. You'll find out what it is in a moment. My guest is Edward Wilson of Brown Bear Coaching. His website is brownbearcoaching.com. He's on YouTube and pretty much every social media platform you can imagine except for X. Definitely not on X. He's actually inspired me to get off X completely. He's the author of the book called A Gay Man, and he is going to be talking with us today. I will put links to everything in the show notes so that you can find him. If you'd like to connect with me, I will also put links to my work as well as the Q-MindBody community. If you want to join the Facebook group or get involved in other things that I have planned, you can do that. And I'm going to put a link to the Gay Wellness website, which is helping to support this episode. Gay Wellness is a directory of healers, massage therapists, coaches, yoga teachers, you name it. If it has anything to do with wellness, you can probably find a practitioner in your area. So check that out. With that said, if you have questions or comments about today's show, or there's things you'd like me to cover in the future, drop them in the comments on Spotify or on YouTube. With that said, I am going to bring in Edward Wilson, and we're going to talk about the one thing gay men should never do. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good, thank you. Good morning from Western Australia. Nice to be here, Darren. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're going to have to help me. Western Australia is the Melbourne side or the Sydney side?
No, they're both on the east side. Perth
They're
is
both
on the west
east
side.
So you know what Perth, is it Perth, Australia?
Perth is on the west side, yes, and that's where I grew up.
Okay.
But currently I'm living about a 6-hour drive south, which is really nice considering climate change. It's a lot cooler here, magnificent beaches, big tall eucalypt forests, and for this whole year I'm looking after my parents' place while they go on a big lap of Australia in their caravan.
I want to come live with you.
It's really nice. Come visit. It's really great.
I may not leave. That's the hard thing. It's like flying first class. You should only do it if you can do it all the time.
Fair enough.
So let's hear a little bit about you.
Yep.
I know you're a coach, and I love your stuff on Instagram. I've watched a ton of your videos.
Oh, thank you.
And we've chatted some. And I would love to just get to know a little bit more about you. My first question, and perhaps this is a lead into like just learning more about you. Why Brown Bear Coaching?
Oh, thank you for asking. I absolutely love bears. You can't see right now, but I have a
Bears as in the animal or the hairy gay men?
Both.
Or both.
Both. I can't say no to a man bear either. But the animal bears, I feel like maybe I was one in a past life. They're like my spirit animal. When I was 18, I was doing a lot of exciting things just after high school, and I was very proud of myself for getting on with everything and doing scary stuff. And I got a gigantic bear paw tattoo on my stomach that always reminds me to sort of be in that zone and being my best self. This was a long time before I ever thought about coaching. Yeah, they're really central to my sense of playfulness, strength, friendliness. I see a lot in bears that I really love. There are no bears in Australia. I didn't grow up with them, but I haven't even seen one in real life, except for at zoos. But yeah, I just absolutely love bears. So it's sort of like Edward Wilson coaching, if you know me.
Well, what led you to coaching? I mean, it sounds like you've been on a bit of a journey yourself.
Yeah.
As a gay man, as a human.
Absolutely. Yes. I have, and I'd love to talk to you about that today when we bring all the bits and pieces in. For me, I found coaching at a time where I was having a bit of a breakdown. And, as a yoga instructor and a mindfulness person yourself, you'll know the great benefits of mindfulness. because of the great pitfalls of the intellectual mind when we're overthinking. There were things going on in my life, and I was saying, this can't be happening. It's not okay. It shouldn't be happening. It can't be this way. This isn't fair. I can't get out of it. It's not going to be okay. And these things were swirling in my head. I had a career in enterprise software sales, which was cool and fun. And, I hit my number when I could, but it ultimately wasn't very satisfying. There were other things going on in my life, and I had frankly, a miniature breakdown. And while I was searching for self-help content and like my symptoms and what can I do about this, what could I do better, I came across a lot of mindfulness and a lot of coaching content. And when I first saw life coaching, like quote unquote life coaching, I was like, who are these weirdos pretending to be psychologists? This doesn't smell right. And I remain skeptical to this day. However, I absolutely love being a life coach. When I found the concepts that coaching talks about, initially it was things like NLP, neuro-linguistic program, which I don't really teach or practice all that much. Of course, I practice it, but I don't really teach it or share literally about it these days. It was immediately helpful. And when you read enough self-help literature, when you explore mindfulness, when you get into this world, you find these really hard-hitting practical schools of knowledge that helped me immediately stop overthinking, tame my overactive mind that was really bringing me down, really hurting me, noticing the stories in my head. And so I said to myself, I realized, wow, this is actually really helpful. I want to learn more. And each time I learned more, I was pleasantly surprised. And I started applying it to myself, and I got my own coach. She's a wonderful lady. I was in Sydney at the time. She was in Perth, and she was super duper helpful. We made leaps and bounds forward. And I realized, wow, I want to practice this for other people. I think this suits me. I'd love to be my own entrepreneurial, work from home, run my own business. It's not for everybody. It is very hard, if I may say so. But yeah, I kicked that off about 5.5 years ago now. And really,
Yes.
I haven't looked back. It's a bit of a dream for me.
Well, the topic for today is the one thing gay men should never do. And
Yes.
we're going to reveal what that is in a minute. But the fact that you chose that topic seems to imply some personal lived experience.
Yes.
And I'm
Hell
wondering, maybe you want to say what that is now. I'll let you talk about it in your own way, but I'm wondering how this ties into your own personal journey.
Absolutely. The one thing that I'm saying gay men should never do is the sin of self-rejection. That's not my phrase. It comes from a guy called Paulo Coelho, who wrote the book, The Four Agreements. If you get a summary, a one-page summary of that book, it could literally change your life. The Four Agreements are an amazing realization that when you live in a certain way, you can end self-rejection. You can stop fighting yourself in your mind, in your heart, in your emotions. And, my lived experience of this is probably going to be the same as you and a lot of the audience listening. I am a gay man, so I was a gay little boy. I've been gay all the time. And there came a certain time in my life and a certain age where I'd realized by osmosis that being gay was less than, and a good man didn't do that. And you shouldn't show anybody. You certainly shouldn't be feminine or effeminate. You should like sports. You should lift weights. You should love the footy. One of my most formative experiences is going to the footy, being taken by my uncle, who's a bloke's bloke, a lovely, thoughtful guy. And my brother had the best time ever. And I sat there on that seat thinking, I am such an absolute misfit and something must be wrong with me because I don't know why anybody's enjoying this. I'm having a terrible time. All I can see is my brother laughing and my uncle being disappointed that I'm not having a good time. And I didn't know how to fix it or change. And that was a really formative, sucky experience. And I struggled to explain to my mum how I was so upset and so hurt. But, I was about 8 or 9 at that time. And by 12, it was I understood very clearly that I was gay. I was having feelings. I don't know, you're a little bit older than me, Darren, but I was watching Dragon Ball Z. Anyone who's around 30, 35, 40 maybe will be in the right age bracket for this. But Goku, the main character, very muscular, fit, lovely character. absolutely worldwide famous, started kind of falling for him and really liking him. And I was like, oh, damn, I don't know if this is a regular kind of thought or feeling to have. And so began with me, as with many people, the sin of self-rejection. When my authenticity came into conflict with my connection, my safety with my family, my school, my schoolmates, my friends, my social groups. I didn't go to church, but that would have been a conflict too. I would have been very aware that if I really be my full authentic self, and if I bring all of myself to these situations, there's a very good chance that I will be disliked, rejected, punished, hated, rejected. And I think you'll find, and everybody listening, please turn to your own personal experience for the sort of self-apparent evidence of this. We frequently choose to prioritize our survival, safety, and well-being over our authenticity. And this happens in a big way. We kind of schism with ourselves. There are some beautiful flaming flamers out there that could never hide, and some of us never did. And when I see those people, like on RuPaul's Drag Race, not all of the queens on RuPaul's Drag Race never hid. A lot of them hid. But some of them never did. And some of those explosive, I'm just going to be me, fuck the rules, fuck what people say, there's no other way for me. I look at them and I go, you're incredible. I wish I had that gift. I don't know how you do it. Mine was the more regular path of self-rejection, hiding myself, questioning myself, doubting myself, all the way up. Well, actually, for me, it happened quite quickly and intensely. From like 12 to 14, there was a lot of self-loathing, self-rejection, upsetness, sleepless nights, crying. And ultimately, what I'm here to suggest to you, listener, is we are all going through this journey. I wrote a book about it. It's called A Gay Man. So here's the cover. It's a sexy guy on the cover, but inside is a multiverse of the gay man. He is all of us and none of us. And it follows this story that the unavoidable toxic shame of our early years must be seen, felt, understood, and then released by us if we are going to achieve self-acceptance, self-love, freedom, confidence, and the charisma, authenticity, and all the lovely things that flow from that. And if you don't do your personal journey, if you don't do your shame and shadow work, if you don't do your opening up to yourself, man, I have so much to talk about.
Well, let me tease that out. Go ahead. I just have a sort of a follow-up on that. I think most people who are watching and listening who'd be drawn to like Q-MindBody are sort of on a path. They're at least curious about knowing themselves better, being more authentic, living a more healthy life, having a more intimate sex life, and all of those things.
Yes.
And yet self-rejection seems to be the default mode for many of us, I think, because of those core wounds early on. How do you identify? Because sometimes self-rejection masquerades as self-improvement.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how we identify it, and how do you advise people? It's one thing to say that you should stop doing that. It's another thing if you can't even identify it, and even when you do, it 100%. Doesn't seem like there's a, well, what's the alternative? This is just how life is.
Yeah, 100%. And really well phrased. You've probably got a lived experience yourself.
A little bit, yeah.
Here's the way I would say it for most direct clarity. Look around yourself and be a bit self-aware and ask, am I compensating for something? Am I achieving, striving, building my body, building my career, getting all these accoutrements, getting a boyfriend, making sure he's hot and awesome and powerful, apparently in the perception and eyes of others, because I'm trying to wrap myself in a good-looking outfit so that people will like and love me and connect with me and see the value in me? If you are living that way, you are compensating. The intention is beautiful and pure and loving because all you are doing is trying to help yourself. The bad news is you're missing the point that you are already whole. You are already good enough. You are already complete, intelligent, Every single person on this planet, tell me if I'm wrong, dear listener, you are full of loving, of wanting good things for you and others. And for you, good things roughly feel like connection, play, silliness, great sex, good times, comfort, peace, making space for people, learning new things, exploring, discovering, growing, accepting challenges, music, sports, whatever your flavor is, it's all of that. So, yeah, if you're compensating and striving and pushing, I think it's time to slow down, practice some mindfulness, just breathe, be present, and ask yourself, am I compensating and striving, or am I doing this because it aligns with my deepest sense of self? If you've never felt your deepest sense of self yet, you're definitely compensating, and you're definitely in your head telling yourself a story about life instead of being just in life and witnessing ourselves as storytelling machines. Am I good? Am I bad? Is it right? Is it
Yeah.
wrong? All of these are mind questions and irrelevant to the neutral truth that you just are, cats and dogs just are, the sun and the earth just is, and you do belong.
Yeah.
You were born. You are the spark of life itself happening, and so am I. And when we
Yeah.
practice mindfulness, you find these things.
One of the gifts of being a gay man, at least for many of us, I
Mm-hmm.
can't speak for everyone, is I think we're pretty good at making things pretty. Like we tend to
Mm-hmm.
be good at decorating or fashion or the things we tend to gravitate towards different industries, different things that like, oh, you need a gay best friend to help you pick out that prom dress or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So making things pretty and attractive and beautiful is a skill that many of us have. And that's a good skill to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also be like making the exterior pretty without it's making the facade pretty without the interior work that
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah.
And so in some ways on the outside we can look together. We can look polished. Like we've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
But on the inside, and so our skill and our strength becomes sort of our kryptonite in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a question in there somewhere, but I
I think I
can't
got
figure
it.
out what it is.
I
Yeah.
think I got it. Some of my best dressed clients and most looking like they're put together clients are frequently the most strong defense mechanism, most difficult to gently and appropriately open up to and with, because they are consistently practicing polishing the outside in the hope that no one will notice the inside. What in their version of reality that they are experiencing, the inside is not very good, not desirable, not good enough, not valuable, etc. And so they're pimping and preening and doing their hair and trying to look amazing as a way of living in compensation. I'd also like to say the only gay gene I feel like I got, well, there's two: loving men and wanting to have sex with them. That got that one, and Disney songs. I quite like them.
Yeah.
But I am terrible at decoration. I'm super upset with my office at the moment, but I'm bringing in helpers to help me. Help me. We frequently live in compensation, and we can get an amazing skill in any direction. You can get really angry and really upset, and that can make you strive and push. It's like swimming upstream. If you swim against the current upstream really hard with great passion and fire, maybe the fire underneath you is, if I don't do this, no one will love me. You will go very, very far and become very capable at whatever it is that you've decided to make your path. However, it may be nicer to live and more effective, and ultimately you go further when you align with yourself and choose to live in, swim in the direction of the current, not against it. And depending on your situation and how your family treat you and your culture and your society, that'll be more or less possible. But I encourage everybody to really listen to their heart and to the gifts that nature and life and maybe God has given them and say, well, what's wrong with me? Why can't I live as I truly am? Why can't I live in alignment and move in the direction that feels most right for me? I think you'll get even better skills. You'll feel more purpose, more direction. And frankly, if you swim the other way, you won't feel a lot of purpose or direction. You might be proud of your amazing skills, but you'll feel quite brittle or hollow or unstable on the inside,
Yeah.
sadly. But it's true.
So when you work with people, do you work mostly with gay men? Exclusively with gay men?
No, not
Or
exclusively. This is difficult actually, because I keep saying gay men and queer people. Everyone, literally everyone, you don't even have to be rainbow, is welcome. Brown Bear Coaching walks this funny line where, because my lived experience is a gay white Australian, this year 36-year-old man, and I'm quite a masculine sort of gay, just harking back to the feminine energy, masculine energy. I quite like rough and tumble competitive stuff. There's a lot of masculine traits that I have. Sorry, that derailed me. Sorry, say the question again.
Do you work with men and women?
Oh yeah,
gay, straight?
Thank you. Everyone is welcome. However, because of that lived experience, there's a certain kind of comfort and connection that is easily understood and shared. And in any helping profession, the quality, security, safety, and trust of the relationship is super duper duper important. So in terms of connecting with men who are like me, and that goes as far as like skin color, although we don't want that to be a thing, it is a thing. And so I've worked with black people, black men, black queers, black gays, black bi men, everybody. I haven't had a lesbian yet, but there's a reason for that. People self-select and choose their helper. Is that always a good thing when we don't choose diverse helpers? No. But in terms of establishing a safe, connective space where we understand each other's shorthand, and if you're a gay man, you don't have to tell your straight therapist, counselor, coach all about, the way in which you have gay sex, the way sometimes it might be at toilets, the way sometimes, it is different. And our lived experience is very deep and very personal. And when people say things to me like, I never cared that I was gay, I'm like, all right, when did you know that you were gay? And they're like, oh, 12, 14, 8. I'm like, right, when did you come out? It's always years later. And I say, why the gap? And it's because they knew that it was embarrassing, wrong, or potentially dangerous to reveal this information and live with complete authenticity. We don't know. We have no idea what it must be like to never question yourself and to bring that into your life from a very early age.
Yeah. Authenticity. I love that word. And it seems to me that this sort of a popular notion, like people will say to me, when did you come out? And for me, coming out was like the biggest authenticity step I've ever taken because it carried such risk with it. And it was so life-changing. But that first step out of the closet door was just that, a first step. It was a necessary first step. But it seems like there's this belief in the queer community that I came out, done with that. What's next?
Yeah, Let's wish.
Binge watch RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever's in at the moment.
Yeah.
As opposed to something that I think you're describing, and that is that authenticity is a journey and that coming out is an ongoing process that begins with the closet door, but it doesn't end with it.
Self-love and self-acceptance is the journey. Once that's complete and you don't have a problem with yourself, you're not being inauthentic, you're being tactical. If you don't want to come out at work, you don't have to. But accepting and loving all and every aspect of yourself exactly as you are, that's the journey you want to go on. And that is not done just because you came out.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to work with you, well, you have your book, and maybe you could say a little bit more about that. You sent me a digital copy, and I can't wait to dive into it a little bit more. But
yeah. I'll talk about the book for a second.
Do you do most of your work online? Do you? I mean, there's people all over the world that are tuning into this. And probably not going to be in Western Australia anytime soon.
No.
Is most of your work online? Do you work with people all over the world? Do you do groups, just individual sessions?
Yep.
What does working with you look like?
I have always been online for 5 years now. About half my clients are Australian and about half are US and Canada. Um, I have had the occasional European or Brit as well, but the time zones are a bit harder. Working with me looks like going to brownbearcoaching.com, seeing if you like it, and then booking a free consult. Because I'm a life coach, it's very buyer beware. I am not a licensed therapist. You have to like and want me and choose me for your own reasons when I, you know, conduct myself and work with you in such a way that I earn and win your trust and respect, and you get to take a shot on this without knowing how it all works, without knowing how it's going to go, without knowing that you're guaranteed an outcome, because you're not guaranteed an outcome, because human work is just of that nature. I'm super proud to say I can look back through my customer database and go, wow, more than 9 out of 10 people get everything they came for from working with me. I'm super proud of that. It's the single most important thing to me. But yeah, I work online and my software tells you when I'm available. If you're on the West Coast of the US, I work 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So there's a huge range there. East Coast, adjust accordingly, 3 hours. What is it? 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. And Australians can catch me 6 a.m. Western time to 2 p.m. and 9 till 5 Eastern States, Australian time.
So of course, begs the question, when do you sleep?
Yeah, well, no, that's only an 8-hour window. So I sleep. Actually, I started going to bed pretty early.
It feels like
as
a
part of my health.
24-hour window, but really for you, it's
8 hours. Yeah,
normal
that's why it's
day.
awesome. That's why it's so great. Yeah, because the Australians fill about half, and then the Americans fill about half. A lot of people work 9 to 5, and I am a full price sort of helper. So if you don't have a job, if you're not a professional, it can be hard to afford me. I don't take insurance because, again, unregulated life coach, and that's a blessing and a curse. I'd love to take people's insurance and be a qualified psychologist, but it's going to take 4 years at university, which is not 4 years I'm willing to invest. And working as a coach,
I'm doing it right now.
Right, it's a huge investment.
I'm in university, like going for my master's in psychology now, and it is a long.
It sure
haul.
is. And
especially when you're old like me.
When there's, when you put in such an investment, I hope that there's an enormous, valuable return for you. You may be frustrated when you come out to look around and go, wow, there's so many basically unqualified life coaches offering a similar product and service to what I do. They won't be licensed. They won't be able to call themselves psychologists. So you'll have that sort of tick of a box, which really matters to a lot of people. A lot of scared, skeptical, and unsure people want that reassurance. And me as an unregistered, unregulated life coach, I have to win people's trust and find their attention. People don't Google me, but they do Google therapists and psychologists. So these are some of the greatest differences between the industry, but you might be annoyed that there are people offering a similar service and frankly doing amazing work that are not registered psychologists.
One of the things I like about your work, or at least how I haven't experienced your work directly, but like how I see you online, is there's a lot of life coaches out there that it feels a little used car salesman-y. It doesn't feel authentic. It feels like a scam.
Yep.
Your work feels deeply authentic to me, and
thank you.
Like I feel like every video I've ever seen of yours, I'm like, wow, this guy's really amazing. He's like, you seem like you care, and you seem like you're in it for the right reason.
Thank you.
It's why I think you're successful, because people are drawn to that.
They can smell it. Yeah.
So,
the question part? Yeah.
Well, you can reflect on that if you like.
If I may, thank you. I really do feel like this kind of work is, quote unquote, my calling. I fucking love it. And if you've read The Velvet Rage, it's a book about how our shame becomes anger because we're feeling sadness. And the Velvet Rage is the one that it's suggested that gays and queers carry because of the injustices that have been perpetrated against us, which I agree with all of that. I love that book. Not a perfect book, but my Velvet Rage powers me to want to sort of, and I think it aligns with my personality as well, as it's sort of born this way, to want to change the world quite a lot. I want the mission of Brown Bear Coaching is to help gay men become the most well-adjusted, self-loving, and effective version of themselves that they can possibly become. I love that dream. I'm super passionate about it. I want to arrive in a gay bar full of comfortable, well-adjusted, self-confident, naturally, quietly confident, authentic, happy within themselves people, so that we can either dance or drink or touch each other or embrace or drink again or whatever we want to do, we can do. And we can ask people, hey, do you want to do XYZ, and do you like this or that? And they can say, no, sorry, we're not a match. I don't like that. And the other person goes, fantastic, I'm going to keep looking, but great to see you. And just imagine how awesome a gay bar, or all gay bars, could be if we all did our work and achieved those kinds of outcomes. It would be a fucking paradise, a utopia. Have you ever been? I go to saunas occasionally. I can't anymore because I live basically in the country. But when I was in Melbourne and Sydney, I'd go to the sauna. And when you are a quietly confident, happy within yourself person that can just chat to someone and get to know them, be like, hey, do you want to have sex? But yeah, I'd actually really like to. Then you have a great massage and connective, awesome sex, which is either slow or fast or whatever you want. It is a kind of utopia. Straight people don't get this. You mentioned the benefits of being gay, sneaking peeks in the change rooms, both being men, so having physiological similarities. Yeah, these are some of our greatest blessings. And being able to go to saunas and hang out and question monogamy and explore what works best for us, and question marriage and explore what works best for us. These are great blessings that are just on our fingertips.
You know, many, many years ago, when I was younger, sort of twink adjacent, maybe, I remember, because I don't go out to bars and clubs anymore. I'm just, it's just not my thing anymore.
Yep.
But the bar experience you're talking about sounds pretty sweet, and I would be there in a minute. But it's just not that anymore. No, but I remember going out dancing, and there was this cute guy, and he came dancing up to me, and we were just sort of being flirtatious and frisky, and he's like, "Are you on ecstasy?" And I'm like, "No, why?" And he's like, "You just seem so loving, and your heart is so open." And I'm like, "I'm not." He's like, "I don't believe you." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not." I'm like, but it's interesting that his assumption was that if somebody is open-hearted and loving and present, that it must be a drug doing it, that it couldn't be an authentic way of expressing yourself in that setting without some chemical help.
If that doesn't speak to the story of the gays,
I think we should go for it.
If that doesn't speak to the story of the gays of the last 20, 30 years, 40 years, I don't know what does. We have been so hurt and perpetrated so much toxic shame against us, and it's completely beyond our control to avoid it or prevent it. Although let's keep working on that. We turn to drugs and substances to compensate for our horrible feelings inside that have been engendered within us because we weren't looked in the eyes and connected with heart to heart and told, you are absolutely wonderful, exactly as you already are. You don't need to change a single damn thing. I am excited for you and your future. You have all the potential, charisma, possibilities that any human being needs to have. You are wonderful. You are wonderful. You are wonderful. I'm excited for your future. Go live a vibrant, amazing life. Ask for what you want. Say no to what you don't want. Nobody got that. I mean, most straight people didn't get that either, but like it was implied. And all the nice things when people said it landed because they didn't have to self-doubt and question, but I actually have demons inside of me, and I'm related to these people that get HIV and take drugs and stay out late at night and don't have children, and they're dangerous to children. We have been absolutely loaded to the gills with toxic shame that we must process, work through, and move past in order to accept and embrace all of ourselves. And when you do, it does feel like you are on ecstasy half the time. The other half the time, you feel anger, upsetness, sadness in the same way that everybody else does, but on a deeper level. You are more connected to people, to yourself, to your loving center, which is unavoidable and cannot die. And you will feel that way on dance floors should you be present and should you bring your whole self to a dance floor. and you can dance with a guy, admire his pecs or his chubbiness, whatever is delicious and delightful about other human beings and men to you, you can find it at gay bars, but you'll miss it if you are endlessly self-conscious, endlessly self-questioning, up in your head, compensating. And I see it all the time, and I just want to help us move past it. Brown Bear Coaching.
Well said, my friend. I like. If we could just clip what you just said, the last 2 minutes of what you said, and turn it into a mantra that's on repeat for all of us to hear, that would be perfect. And it's simple, but it's simple is easy to forget for whatever reason. Edward Wilson, Brown Bear Coaching.
Yes.
The book is A Gay Man.
Yeah, agaymanbook.com.
And I will put links to all of this in the show notes. And you offer free consultations for anyone who's thinking about working with you.
Correct.
So they can just schedule that right through your website.
That's right.
Very convenient. And I would also invite everybody to check out your Instagram feed, because you've got just a lot of great videos in there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the best place to get a lot of me. I'm trying to spread out more, but even though Meta and the world is not always the way we want it to be, currently it's the single most effective platform to get done the mission of Brown Bear Coaching. So I use primarily Insta.
Can I tell everybody what you told me when I messaged you to schedule us?
Yeah, you could say whatever you want.
No, just because I was like, I've sort of seen some of your work and really liked, what you were doing. I'm like, I got to get him on the Q-MindBody podcast. And so I messaged you, and of course I'm in California and you're in Australia. So completely different sides of the clock.
Yeah.
And I messaged you to see if you were interested, and I got an instant response. And no one ever responds instantly, which made me like you so much more. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what were you? You were playing Candy Crush with no pants on.
I was like,
what you said, and I'm like, I like this guy.
I said the truth. I'm just in bed playing Candy Crush with no pants on. That's why I got the notification straight away, and I got straight back to you.
Well, it painted a wonderful image for me, and I was like, I got to get this guy on immediately.
Everyone is very welcome to imagine whatever you want right now in your heads about me playing Candy Crush with no pants on. If it ever crosses your mind, is this professional? Is this appropriate? I leave that up to you. This is one of the blessings of being a life coach.
I think it's professional and appropriate, and that's all that matters. Have you heard the term poo bearing?
Or Donald ducking. Same thing. Got the shirt on but no
ducking,
pants.
Yeah, the shirt with no pants. Well, for you, it could be poo bearing since you're into bears.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't heard that version.
You poo bear and play Candy Crush all you want.
I don't do it very much. It's a bit of a vice, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? The only thing I want right now is to play Candy Crush in bed, and pants are optional.
Okay. We're going to have you back on for additional episodes. We're already talking about doing a panel discussion at some point. If you have questions or comments, drop them in the YouTube or Spotify comment section, and we will keep an eye on those and try and get back to you. And of course, follow both of us on social media and elsewhere. And I'm working on a few things like some panel discussions and some online and in-person group work, yoga classes, and all kinds of fun stuff in the very near future. So keep an eye out for all of that. It was so good to chat with you, and I will see you soon.